So, Josh, good to have you. Kelsey.
It's great.
So how long have I known you guys?
You've known them a lot longer than you know me.
Right. I met you because you married her.
Yeah.
Right?
They started dragging me here in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
Against me screaming and kicking.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, when you grew up in a family that never really went to church except when you were young for Easter and Christmas, you think church is what you see on TV where you sit there for 4 hours and it's the guy in the whole gown and sits there and reads the whole Bible for 4 hours straight, and that's what you think church is. I mean, that's what it was. And then they started bringing me here, and I started listening to you, and I was like, this guy is off the wall, kind of like me. I mean, it's just kind of going to work okay.
That's good. I think that's a compliment. I think that's good. And Kelsey, I know I've known your mom and dad, your sister. I think I met your sister before I met you. So what was your first thought when because your mom and dad, because they did not go to church at all, right?
No, we didn't grow up going to church. But yeah, they kind of drugged me here too at the beginning. But yeah, my first thought was I had an open mind. I thought I'd see what it was like. And once I saw how you taught it, and I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. I mean, it's fun. It's not boring.
Yeah, well, good.
You do a good job of, you read your parts and you explain it. You explain it in a normal, in today's words and normal human interactions. That's a good way of explaining it, I guess. And it makes sense, and you kind of leave your understanding what you talked about.
It's good. Yeah. If I need this for an interview, I'm going to use this. This is a good interview for a job.
I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah. So anyway, Josh, let everybody know kind of last year, and Kelsey, you can have your input into this too, because I know you guys were at home with the COVID, your mom and dad who are having a house built.
Yeah.
And Josh is the only one that's not sick, and he says, no, I'm going to work. I'm gonna go pick up cars, deliver cars.
Yeah.
And you thought that was wonderful.
Well,
No.
Yeah. I didn't really want him to go, but with his business, he kind of had no choice. His other business partner, his dad died, so he had to be off with his family, and he was kind of left alone taking care of it. And so he said, I can't stay home. I have to go.
Right.
And if I'm driving, I won't be around anyone, so I won't be exposing anyone if I have anything. So we figured that was kind of the best solution for him.
Best scenario.
Yeah.
It was. His father passed unexpectedly. So, he was gone with that. We kind of wrote him off for a couple months that he wasn't going to be around, every time you'd call me after Sundays when I was up in Canada, you kind of botched the story sometimes, but you got it.
All right, so let him know. Let him know exactly. Because this is not only a God moment for you in your life. I know it was a God moment for Kalsey, and probably other people around you who are just going, "What just happened?"
Yep, so you got it right. She had COVID, so I said, I'm just going to go out of town for a couple weeks, stay away from the sick house.
Right.
So
Quarantine.
made it the first day, went up, came back, was working in Canada, came home, and then I left up the next day. That was Thursday. I was in downtown Calgary, loading up a private person's car. He met me there, and, he goes, do you want me to stay in case something happens? I go, no, nothing ever happens. I've done this probably 10 million times. Nothing ever happens. Don't worry, I'll be fine.
So wait, he loads cars, takes them to Arizona, drops them off for people with a semi and a big
our family owns
portable parking lot.
Owns a transporting company. We own 13 semis that run all over the country, Canada, U.S., everywhere. We're all over the place. And that's where I was driving, was one of our semis. And I was loading the car up over the cab, all the way up to the highest point. And I got out the door and was walking around the other side, and right there is kind of where I lost it. I guess I don't remember. I hit my head pretty hard. So it's, I fell, landed on my back and my head, ended up breaking my back in 3 spots, cracked my head open, or not cracked my head open, but I cracked my skull and broke my sternum. My phone was in the truck because it was snowing. So I had to get myself up. I don't know how long I laid there. I was on the passenger side. I was on a side street, so I was on the passenger side where I fell off next to houses where nobody could see me. So all the cars were driving this side. I was laying on the ground next to the semi, kind of blocked by the tires.
Right.
Nobody could see me, so I got myself up finally, walked myself into the cab, and I kind of sat there. I was like, maybe this just kind of hurt because I've fallen off the top before, and it hurts, and you just kind of sit there for a little bit and regain and keep going.
Right.
This one wasn't going away. It was getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, this sucks. So I went and laid down in the bed, like, maybe laying down would make it feel a little better here. And no. So I didn't know where I was at. I was in downtown Calgary. I didn't know streets or nothing.
Right.
So I called Brady. This is our business partner whose dad died. He had just stopped at the office to do some, go over some payroll questions with our other employees, and was just sitting there for just a couple, maybe an hour. And then he was heading back out to his farm where hang out with his family. And so I called him and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what happened. I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. And so they pulled up all of our trucks have trackers on them.
GPS,
so
yeah.
he had my dad, call the ambulance services and that, and was able to, get the ambulance to me. So the ambulance shows up and they're just, I guess I'm going maybe too far in depth. I don't know. If it's too much, we can edit it out. But, they show up, they cut my sweatshirt all up, they cut me all up here, and I'm laying in the bed still, and they're like, you gotta crawl yourself out of here. And I was like, my back's injured. Usually when ambulances down here show up, they put you down, they don't let you move, they don't do nothing. No, they made me get up out of the truck and walk out, which, I was laying in the bed, the whole side door opens up to where they could have put the bed in there and pulled me out the side. But they made me get up, walk out, walk into the ambulance, and come to find out, I blew out 3 vertebrae. I blew one out so bad that it had kind of broken apart and spun sideways and was sitting against my spinal cord, about to cut it. And then, like I said, my sternum was broken, my brain was bleeding. They ran me through about 4 or 5 CAT scans, monitoring my brain bleed. They had to put me in a hospital bed. They couldn't operate on me. They couldn't do anything on me until the brain bleed went down. So this was Thursday, probably about lunchtime. And then that kind of gets us to Thursday. I don't know if you want to talk to her about when she got the call and everything. And
I got the call from his stepmom about it right after he got into the ambulance and left, and she told me what was going on, and just in shock. Didn't really know what was going on or what kind of state he was in, if he was, even in a coma or alive. And so it was pretty scary and feeling pretty hopeless and helpless that I couldn't even go to him or see him.
Yeah, because we were in lockdown. We couldn't get up unless you were working in Canada. You didn't get to go.
Nope. No. Unless you were driving a semi, it's the only way you could get in and out of the border.
Yeah.
So they couldn't come up. They couldn't.
Yeah, the hospital wouldn't allow visitors anyways, but since I had COVID, I couldn't even get into Canada.
Right.
They wouldn't let me, and so that was what we were trying to figure out, how we were going to get him home for after the 2 weeks he was up there.
Yeah.
How are we even going to get him home?
Well, so, I kind of lost my phone. I didn't have my phone. I didn't talk to anybody till probably, I don't think I finally called you till that Thursday evening, I think, when they finally put me in a bed by myself upstairs. And then, like I said, they weren't able to operate on me till about 3 or...
It was Friday.
Yeah, later that afternoon, Friday, until my brain bleed had gone down. And then they finally put me in surgery. I was in an 8-hour surgery with 4 or 5 spinal surgeons, anesthesiologists. I had the whole shebang. I had 4 or 5 different IVs in each arm. It was a big deal. And then they finally came out. I came to, and the surgery went well. Everything was good there, and then I was stuck in a hospital bed looking out at the cars for 2 weeks by myself.
So, this was a tragic event. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We can laugh about it, but no doubt. A few weeks ago, and this kind of spurred this on, is you and Kalsey came up to me and said, we've been coming to church. We've heard people talk about being close to God, understanding God, listening to God. And just the way you shared, you said, I never got that until this happened in my life?
I never did. You know, the 2 weeks up there, then I was able to come home for a couple days. You know, I got to come home for like 4 or 5 days. My incision opened up, got infected. I got put back in the hospital here for another week straight. Got to go home again for another 5 days. And then I got, you know, 3 in the morning, I wake up and I got to have her take me out of bed. I'm in so much pain and I can't breathe, I can't move. And come to find out I got pneumonia. So then I got put in the hospital for another week over Christmas. So I got to spend Thanksgiving, Christmas. I got to end up spending 4 weeks in the hospital by myself.
Right. Yeah.
And then, you know, after it's coming to and I'm kind of getting better and everything, I can finally make it here to church. And I was kind of excited. You know, I know you guys have been praying for me and I thank everybody for that. I thank everybody that's, you know, watching on YouTube, everything that's ever even had the, you know, didn't know us and was praying for us. I mean, I thank you guys, I mean, as much as I can for that.
Absolutely.
And then I come up to you and I tell you, you know, the whole time I've sat in church from 2015, I think we said, I said, you know, you'd bring people up or people would talk about it. You know, I saw the light, you know, God led me this way. You know, I feel God's telling me to do this. And it's like, are these guys crazy? You know, did they smoke something here before they got here? What? Because it never made sense to me. I never understood that.
Right.
Until this happened. The second, you know, once it happened and I came to and, you know, after sitting down here and thinking about it and being able to finally think straight, it's like, wow, I get it. You know, it happened. It happened to me. I see it now. You know, the only way to go is to God now.
Yeah.
You know, I can sit here and curse him and say, you know what, you made me do this. You made this happen to me. But no, I think he did it as a way to show me this is the way to go. And this is what we're doing. You know, this is the way we're going with this. And I feel like exactly how people have said that now.
Wow. Kalsey, how did this impact you?
Yeah, just like he said, I feel like it was a sign from God that, you know, I wasn't always happy with his career choice. I never got to see him very often. I felt like he was gone a lot and stressed out with work a lot. And so, you know, we always had arguments about his work and being home and stuff like that. And so I kind of secretly was like, this was a sign from God that maybe you shouldn't be doing this type of work.
She's like, well, dear God, I let him fall off his truck. Don't hurt him. I didn't mean to hurt him that bad.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, this is God's chance to give him another, you know, chance of life.
So, you know, a lot of times, Kalsey, in tragedy, people either get closer, or they don't.
Right. I think we've definitely gotten closer from it too. Yeah.
You really have a choice. It's either, like I said earlier, you either run to him or you fight it and you curse him and you go down the dark path. Right. You got 2 ways to go here.
Yes.
And I think I've heard you talk about that too, is, you know, you kind of have 2 ways to go. Either you embrace it and let him take it where he's going to lead you, or you curse him and just go down the other path.
Yeah. So, you know, I would say, you know, you didn't hang out with a lot of people that went to church or loved God or would call themselves Christ followers.
Oh, 100% admit that I didn't hang out with one person that was ever a churchgoer, nothing. But nobody I ever knew really went to church. And like I said, when we were little kids in our family, we'd go to church for Christmas and Easter, and that was about it.
Right.
I would say probably middle school area, we stopped going. And I don't think I've ever stepped foot back in a church, talked about a church, talked about God until 2015 when we started coming into this place.
The Rock, yeah. Yeah. You don't mind talking about it now, I take it?
No, I'll talk to anybody about it. I say anything about it. You know, at first, and I think everybody gets that way. They're intimidated to talk about it, scared they're going to get made fun of about it. Yeah. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. Hey, I believe in God. You should too. You know, I think you kind of got 2 people that are either going to A, do that, or B, you know, they're just going to kind of secretly say they go to church all the time, secretly say they believe him, but don't really want to bring it up in a public setting because they don't want to get made fun of.
Right, yeah.
And I would say I probably wasn't one of those persons before because, you know, I never really saw it here. I never really got it. I never really understood the whole thing until now, and I 100% say, I tell everybody. You know, people say about my accident, you know, how do you feel about it? And it's like, I'm not mad about it. You know, it sucks. It's a tragedy. You know, but every day people go through 10 times more tragedies than I do, and I try to always think that you know, I always want to worry about other people because, you know, they're going through so much more. You with your sister, you know, everybody's got something worse.
Everybody has something. It's like, you know, life is, we turn the corner and all of a sudden something else. And I was talking to some folks on Wednesday night, and I go, isn't it amazing? How did you do life before God? And they all go, we drank.
Yep.
Because you turn the corner in tragedy. You turn the corner, and they all said, it wasn't until we just needed God. And then we're like, we should have got this earlier.
It would have saved you a lot of money and booze. You know, obviously I'm on a ton of medication still, but I've quit drinking, and I was getting pretty heavy into drinking. You know, it was a lot of stress in my job. It was a lot of stress. You know, we were up to probably almost 30 employees, and to keep all that under wraps is
that's
a lot.
Right there. Yeah.
And at 20-some years old, taking the reins from my dad and trying to run this whole place at 20, you know, in my whole life, but at 29 especially, 28 is kind of when we started taking it over, and it's a lot for a 28, 29-year-old, and so, you know, the only way to kind of cope with it was drinking, and that's what you thought, because that's what you saw growing up, that's what you saw with your parents. I've stopped drinking. I haven't touched a sip of booze, and I'm not even excited to drink again. You know, before, when I'd have something that would make me quit drinking, I'd be like, I can't wait to get going. I want to get back to buying a case of beer. You know, I want to do that. But now it's just like,
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how God changes your life?
Absolutely.
You know, even during this, how's your marriage? You guys doing good?
I think we're doing a lot better now. We're talking a lot more. Before it was just, I'm right, you're right, and we're going this way.
We had a lot of fights lately.
Like, do that again. do that again.
I'm right, you're right, and we're going this way. And we're going to fight about it until somebody else gives in.
Oh my God.
And that's what a lot of couples do, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of problems in marriages. Money, obviously, is the biggest, and this.
Yeah.
And, you know, you made us read that book for our marriage counseling. I can't remember what it's called, but it was talking about the love bank, about your...
his needs, her needs.
Yeah, that's what it was. And, you know, before it's like, oh, that guy's full of crap. You know, that doesn't make sense. You know, it's whatever. You know, we have money. We're not fighting about money. We have what we want. We have a nice house. We have this. Screw it. I'm going to work. She'll figure it out. And then now it's like, I 100% get it. You know, I see what I was doing before, and what it was causing to her.
Yes.
And I just didn't even think about it because I was so wrapped up in my business.
Yeah.
It didn't even matter, right?
And isn't it funny how a lot of guys, they feel like, well, listen, if my business is a success and I'm making a lot of money, the marriage is going to be fine.
It's exactly how I thought. It's not true. It's not true at all. And anybody that says that is full of crap.
It's true.
Yeah.
But you can't see it, can you?
Nope.
Yeah.
You have people telling you that all the time, and your whole life, you know, it doesn't matter. Money does not matter. It doesn't matter until you get wrapped up in it, and you're like, yeah, it does. Money will fix it. Money will fix it.
Right.
But it doesn't. And you know, I'm not saying I'm giving all my money away and moving away and moving into
a trailer down by the river.
Yeah. But you know, I'm still money driven and money motivated, but I also have figured out that I got to put her needs and my family's needs first.
Oh man.
And whatever will succeed will come from that.
Isn't that good? I think that is probably you understanding God's love, God's plan for your lives, understanding that money is just a tool, but your relationship with your bride, you know, your relationship with your little girl, and the one that's going to show up in a few days, whenever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, all those things are so much more important.
So much more important. And one thing I've always, you know, I always heard it a lot from I used to listen to a lot of podcasts when I was always gone and working a lot. And one of the things I always heard that I never really thought of, like, whatever, you know, was it's all God's money. We're just using it and trying to give it back to Him. Yeah. You know, we're responsible for taking stewards of God's money. It's God's money.
Right.
If He wants you to have good money, He will lead you the way to get it.
Right.
If he doesn't, then you are going to be blessed in another way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a tool. That's all money is.
Yep.
It's a tool. You know, some people have big toolboxes. Always wanted a Whopper do it. But you know, it's just, that's all it is. It's you know, and it's hard to explain what a great relationship looks like until all of a sudden your relationship starts to get better.
Yep. And
then you go, oh my goodness, would we have ever had this if we would have continued down this road?
Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you brought up a good point about, because you know, you think you're in a good relationship. You think things are going good. We were going on vacations all the time. We were doing this. We were buying new stuff. We were buying new cars. We were doing stuff. And you're like, well, this is a sign of a good relationship. You know, I think, you know, we get along when we're on vacation, but
we were happy. But I mean, I feel like
it was happy over a cloud. You know, it was.
Like we're a lot happier with each other now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've always had a good foundation, but I feel like it's stronger now.
Yeah. Stuff is just stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff is just stuff.
You know, it's like when you have little kids and you give them a new toy and then they go to the cabinet and they pull out a pan. You go, why did I buy that?
Yeah.
We watch it all the time.
They're happy with the pan, the frying pan, than they are with this stupid thing that I
or the box.
Right.
And if you watch it, you know, I've been at home probably more than I've ever been at home my entire life. I didn't even know there's parts of my house I didn't even know existed because I was never there. I never was there. I was always gone. You know, I'd come home for a couple hours at night to sleep, and that was it. And I'd go. The weekends we were gone. We were on vacations. You know, I never was home. And then to finally come to a screeching halt like this, to sit home, you have so much more time to analyze stuff. Right. And you sit there and you watch your 2-year-old play with all these toys, you know, and she's got all these toys, and you're like, you know, it doesn't matter if you buy her the $50 toy or the box. And then you kind of think of that as, you put that back into yourself as your marriage. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you buy her a $100,000 ring or a $2 ring. They're still going to be just as happy.
Well, I think the reality is you can never replace time.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, I think that is the key, is you can never replace time that you spend with each other.
And that's what I took for granted forever was, man, it's just time, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, it's Tuesday, what are we going to do on a Tuesday night? Right. You know, I might as well work. So then it's just like, well, no, we sit down, we have dinner together, we hang out, we talk, we watch TV together, you know, we do stuff together now. Before it was just, you know, we'll
just come home, eat dinner, go to bed, and start our day again.
And then leave at 4 a.m. and see ya.
Yeah.
Wow. What a dramatic change.
It's a big change.
What are you looking forward to?
I guess being able to kind of return to somewhat of a life of normalcy. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of looking forward to finally be able to get out of the house a little more. Right. I'm not going to lie about that. Because getting stuck in there every day, 7 days a week is kind of getting to you. Kind of getting to me.
Right, yeah.
You know, the times before when I was able to leave was to the hospital and back. To the hospital and back. And so, you know, I'm excited to move forward. I'm excited to see what God has for us next.
I just think it's excited that you said, I'm excited to see what God has for me next. Because it's stuff that didn't verbally come out of your mouth.
It would have never came out of my mouth before. I will admit it right now. It would have never came out of my mouth before, but I'm excited. I wake up every day to say, you know what? I wonder what God's got for me today. You know, what's going to happen in my life today that's going to, you know, where's God going to lead me? Where's the path God's going to show me to go now?
Right. Yeah.
Is it this way? Is it that way? I mean, I'm following Him now. I've let myself to Him.
What's it like watching your husband growing as a man of God?
It's inspirational, I think. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional. But yeah, I think it's inspirational because he's never been like that.
Is he better?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's good. You know, it's a cliche statement until it happens to you. And that is, only God can make tragedies triumphant. He's the only one that can unscramble an egg, right? He's the only one that can take something that's just just seem to destroy your life and make it better.
Exactly. And it's what he did here.
Yeah.
And I say it to everybody. It was God's plan, it was God's idea, and it's God's world and we're living in it.
Amen. That's good. That's great. Is there anything else you guys want to say? If not, I'll wrap it up.
Again, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for all the prayer wishes, for praying for us, for keeping our family in the prayers. I mean, half of you that probably prayed for us probably never even knew us, except the people that sat in the back. And I thank you guys so much for that. I do. I really do.
Absolutely. You know, we get to announce prayer requests at the Rock, and I hear, because being the pastor and some of the other people that hear that, you know, we are so thankful that you pray. Mm-hmm. You know, there's been some other tragic things going on, and people pray, and prayer is a key. I can't wait to see in 6 months where God has you guys. Yeah. You know, whatever door opens for you. You know, I can't wait to see you be involved in leadership. Definitely, if you can run a business, have 30 employees, God has given you abilities that, and you didn't shoot anybody, so you definitely have abilities. So I thank the Lord that He brought you here, and really all the glory to God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, I'm glad you guys could be a part of this ministry. I'm glad He brought you here, but really it's all about God. And there is nothing better for those of us who have been in ministry, for people that are in ministries, to know and to watch God the Spirit still work in people's lives. And we don't change you, God does. It's just damaged like that.
No.
So
people don't change. People don't ever change. It's it's hard for people to change. It's God.
God, yeah, that does it. Well, this was Josh and Kalsey Kirkhart, and thank you guys. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learned something during this interview. And so we'll catch you next time. Lord bless.
Thank you.